It's me, Lagarde Laxon. I'm also known as Chino and Artie. I am here to do a part two review of the Robocop. Anything from, I'm going by an order too. So, yes, I just want to explain that I'm a big Robocop fan, and now I'm going to do a review of the second film, and I got to talk about it. Yes, okay. This is actually my first VHS of Robocop too. This is by Columbia House. That my mom bought for me when I was only 12 years old. I kid you not, my mom bought it for me with a cartoonish title, Robocop. But when she watched the film, she was like, "Are you letting my son? Oh my God, my son bought this." You know, in my language of Tagalog. And this film, I seen a little bit already the cartoon when I was still living in Guam. The Saturday, it was a Sunday morning when they showed it, not a Saturday. And also, uh, I'm a bit, I was like, man, I want to get the toy, but I never got a chance yet because they didn't have it in Guam until I made it to America. But Columbia House, I like their membership. A little brief history. You get to choose 20 movies, and it only costs you 1 cent each movie. Yes, 20 movies, but you have to buy 5 movies of its regular price. And movies that time were expensive. They're like from $39 to $40 for VHS. Okay, but yeah, it was. We have a big library that came from Columbia House until we just canceled our membership. But Robocop 2, my review to this film, okay, out of 10, I give it a freaking 7. Yes, okay, John Davison, the producer, and plus Orion, the company. I'm gonna get there more about it because, one, they couldn't make, they really want to, Orion really wants to cash in Robocop, okay, so Orion released a lot of films, that like Terminator 1. They're the ones who did that, along with Silence of the Lamb, Dances with Wolves. And I just want to say, this film, they really try to push a sequel. And they just had finished the cartoon series. They were still being aired repeats as well as they have this film. Of course, you can't bring children to watch this and that's one thing I'm going to talk about. Robocop became, more of an idol. He's becoming a role model to children. But this film was so violent, and now they don't. Of course, they have Paul Verhoeven, who directed the first film. Orion really wants him to work with it, but he's already working with another film called Total Recall, based on Philip K. Dick's. We sell dreams, your memories or dreams in wholesale or something like that. I haven't read that yet, but yeah, that's what Total Recall is based on. And this film, now it became a production disaster. Yes, it did. That's why when it was being released on DVD, there is no DVD till now of this film being with special features. They do have the Shout Factory Blu-ray, which is this one. And I gotta say, this is look, you can actually flip this and get the original movie poster version of it, but not the VHS. You can flip it, but I'm not here to talk about the review of the DVD and Blu-rays. I'm just talking about the film and the production things. And my review on it, I give it like a 7 because it was not the same film that I saw from the first. Director Irvin Kershner, veteran director he directed what's the name, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, George Lucas Star Wars film. And he's known for directing films of sequels to make it a little more different, but still there from the respected of the original source in a way. But the part about this film, they took out his humanity. They just kept him as a robot. They didn't really show any chemistry between Anne Lewis, his partner, and then now they made the old man, played by Dan O'Harely, become the bad guy. Because in the first film he was just the president of OCP. Now he is the bad guy president, showing how corrupt this company is. I just want to say that comic book writer who's known for making The Dark Knight Returns and making Batman more darker is actually Frank Miller, who wrote the story, not the original writer. What's his name? Edward Neumeier. This is actually it was difficult in that production. Even making a script, you're gonna see Frank Miller sitting on the floor just writing, analyzing what we're gonna do and this and stuff. And then a lot of Robocop fans were disappointed on this film in a way. But the action is still there, but not well edited, not paced right in a way. Most of the time that Robocop is shooting, trying to show off in the nuke factory, he's not even looking at the guys he's shooting, because mostly Robocop has to target them first before he actually shoots, you know. And the other thing is when Robocop gets kind of like cuckoo in the head as a robot, he calls Lewis by her first name, not Lewis. He always Anne. I like your hair that way, Anne. And she was like, what? It means there's something wrong with him. Remember, when Robocop is kind of like out of order in his head, he means he calls her in her name, you know, by her first name. But I just want to say that this film really was kind of boring the way it's paced until the finale in the end. Too many casualties, and yet the battle between Robocop and Robocane was a lot of influence for them to make the Ironmonger fight Iron Man. And that's what it was said by John Davison, along with even John Fairview. But this film was just so bad. And then I have a Starlog magazine that has actually deleted scenes that you didn't even know that exist, you know? And of course, the comic books had been released, movie adaptation of Robocop 2 as well as the first film. And there was a lineup. I have a complete comic book of that, which I will review later. Robocop was releasing comics, and of course it's not in the it's by Marvel Comics, but it's not part of the, you know, Marvel universe with Spider-Man, etc. like that. And I just want to say that Frank Miller is a great writer, but it's so hard to translate his his writing skills and, you know, comic book wise into film. I actually have later on they released a comic book. It's just called Robocop, and it's based on Frank Miller's original script from Robocop 2 and Part 3. But this film, it didn't know where it's going. It didn't even have its own title in the beginning. You know, it just went straight to a man stealing a car of an advertisement of an anti-theft car thing, whatever. And then they went straight to the news, and there was a lot of things going on that they didn't film, and there's some scenes that they lost, like Murphy walking to his own grave with the helmet or without the helmet. And they said his tombstone looked too fake or something like that. He actually showed him walking in the rain without the helmet, walking with the helmet. And there were certain characters that you don't see that got killed already, like that guy that has that Elvis hair. And the other part I don't like about this film, since Robocop is a true, you know, becoming, you know, a role model to children, why they make children bad guys in this film. There were two things that goes on. One, the character Hobb, a 12-year-old with a loud mouth with the F word consistently coming out of his mouth in every sentence. And then you're going to see a group of children that are a baseball minor league with the coach influence them to go steal things from the electronics store. They're making kids look bad. And they made a music video called The Kids Go Wild. And you check that out on YouTube. They have it by Babylon AD. It was a great video, I gotta say. The guy who plays as Robocop in that video, whoa, is actually Peter Weller's stunt double. I don't know which one because there's so many of them. But he's not saying a word. He always says, dead or alive, you're coming with me. And Robocop's arsenal gun, he just looks the same like the first film, except the purplish blue on him. He was so blue in this film. Oh God, he's more blue in this film. And I gotta say, this film was not good. When I watched it, I thought I was gonna see part 1 and 2 in the same time, because I thought I was gonna get 2 of the same packages. I don't know anything about films. I don't know about sequels. So now I learned. This was my first Robocop film, and then my second Robocop film that I ever owned was the first one after that, from Columbia House. And then I actually hear the score that made me watch it over and over again. I was just mostly amazed by Rob Bottin's design of the visor and the industrial sleek design of the classic titanium alloy of him. And I give this a 7 out of 10, I'm sorry. It was, and also Phil Tippett did a great job making a wrestling style action sequence between Robocop and Robocane. And it's really, stop motion, and you don't know certain scenes that if it's him or yet. But yeah, and then Ann Lewis is very kind of like a side character, not even supporting character, just a little bit. Then you see Drake, the character Drake from Aliens, as one of the police officers in Strike. Okay, he also played in Rush Hour as one of the FBI units. So I forgot the name of that actor, but you'll see him in a lot of films. This film, I don't recommend for children to watch this. This is really highly violent, more than the first. And they gave the first film X-rated. This one was really bad. And I agree with Siskel and Ebert of what they were saying about this film. That's why they gave it a both thumbs down. No Academy Awards for this film at all. The first film did. It was nominated for film editing, and it won for Best Original Sound for Robocop's thud, which was used. I think they used those pieces that came from a tank to make that thud that every time he walks. And a little more backstory about it. Irvin Kershner is basically his last film that he directed. You know, the last thing I ever seen him in was Under Siege. No. I believe it was a Fire Down Below or something. As a Steven Seagal film. It had him as a director, and then Sir Michael Caine was just like, I know what I'm doing. Just like something like he said the F word and everything like that. So the F bomb comes to the girl. But this is a sequel. And did they make a cartoon series after this? Nope. Then there's a 900 number you call to play a game to win prizes. There's pinball games. They made a NES game and an arcade game where you can play two Robocops. One's already blue and one's more bluish purple. And the soundtrack score. Oh man. The soundtrack didn't have Basil Fedoris' original background music. It didn't have that march theme that I expect. Leonard Roseman is the guy who composed this film, and a lot of it sound like they came from Star Trek: The Next Generation, which is a recycled themes that he already did. So there was not really new in this film, and I just gotta say the trailer was more fun to watch than the whole movie. It's edited just like how you're supposed to see it with the soundtrack there, because you can tell even the work print copy had Basil Fedoris' original music. You can see how the pacing goes with it, but it looks like Leonard Roseman last minute just added whatever he can. And I even have this original CD soundtrack by Various Records, and it was not a good soundtrack. It was my actual first soundtrack that I got, and it's an original soundtrack. It's already out of print, and I don't know if they actually have a full uncut version of the. I know they had this one out, but the second film soundtrack, it was not memorable. It was just forgettable. So I gotta tell you this, I give it a 7 out of 10. There are a lot of people who say the second film was better than the first, but okay, I understand. At least it's still Robocop. Give them that respect. Okay, they believe that. But to me, in my point, I like the first one really good. So if you want to check out the Robocop 2, they have it on YouTube, Netflix, and they got it on DVD and Blu-ray in the trilogy pack. But if you want to buy the single DVD individual, I recommend the Blu-ray by Shout Factory, which you can order on the internet. And yes, this is a good film. And what makes this Shout Factory fun to watch is because of the special features and some deleted scenes that you haven't seen. So I thank you guys for watching, and yeah, they never made any Robocop 2 toys. They made the first one, yeah. Thank you for watching.